You've got the touch. You've got the power.
Okay, ahead of the TABtouch Western Trilogy, we've got the Sandgroper, the Nalibore, the Quokka, all happening. We haven't spoken to anyone in the Nularbor range, but we are lucky to have Gary Hall Jr. with us today, mate. You'll be racing. It's Tuesday. You're racing Friday. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had a few cracks at this, but we finally got there today. So, yeah, it's pretty close to the race.
We had to get you on before the race. I mean, we're disappointed to chat to you afterwards. Who you want? Who are you driving?
Mr. Smarty, I'll be on. Yeah,
Yes.
one of Dad's horses. So, yeah, I've had a pretty good association with him so far, and hopefully Friday can be a highlight.
Yeah, good. So, mate, a bit of history for people that may not know who you are. Gary Hall Jr., you are a harness driver.
Yep.
Not a harness jockey, a harness driver. There's a bit of a difference. And I want to know a little bit about it because I told you before we started, I've got, not a great deal of intel on how you go about your business, but you've got a good team with your old man, Gary Hall Sr., a couple of greats in this sport. You've driven more than 4,000 winners. Feels like a lot to me. It feels like a lot. 67 of those Group 1s. You've been inducted into the Hall of Fame as a 36-year-old. I feel like that's young. Like, what's going on here, mate? Like, you're charging.
Yeah, there's a few, I guess, crazy stats there. They just all make me feel old, I guess. Got to when I got inducted to the Hall of Fame, that was actually a pretty big shock to be sort of inducted so early, and great thrill. But yeah, it sort of just made me feel like I'd been around forever,
While you're still driving too.
Yeah. It's sort of like I remember when I got nominated for it, Dad said, "Oh, you don't get inducted until you sort of looking like retiring and things like that." And then when they said I was in, I was like, "Oh, what does this mean? Like, is it good or is it bad?" It's like, am I coming to the end of it or?
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, cheers. But no, it's I've been obviously really lucky. I don't think anyone in any sport could get to those heights or reach the top of their game and sit there and tell you they haven't been lucky along the way. So yeah, I sort of was lucky to obviously being in part of Dad's team, and he's been leading trainer in WA for as long as I can remember, and so to have his backing and the horses coming through his stable to drive and sort of cut my teeth on, if you will, sort of helped me along the way. And we got a couple of nice ones handy early when I was young, and they sort of dragged me through the big races really, and I was just a bit of a passenger, and I was able to get the job done on a couple of them, and then it sort of just elevated from there.
So is that how it started? It's family ties. Your old man, a driver, and now WA's best trainer. You've got the family element. Did you feel like you're always going to be doing this, or you want to be an accountant growing up?
Yeah, nah, definitely not. I didn't like school enough to probably do anything else, and then I realised that this was probably an early out from school for me if I could make a go of it. And yeah, I think I did like 2 weeks year 10 and said to Mum and Dad, I don't really want to go back, and I'll have a crack at the horses. And they weren't keen on it. They didn't really want me to, for obvious reasons. It's never easy, and the money's not great. But they got permission for me to leave. Told the school they were offering me a job, and from there it was sort of sink or swim really. I was I had my first driving race when I was 16. It won, but it was nothing to do with me. Did everything wrong on it.
So you just sitting there?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was shocking. And then sort of probably 3-4 months in, Dad said to Mum, he goes, I don't know if Ginny's going to make it as a driver, you know what I mean? We're going to have to maybe look elsewhere. It was just, the penny didn't drop with me at all, and probably took a good couple of years, to be honest. And maybe the fear of probably having to work at a drive-through or something like that for the rest of my life, to be honest. So I'm not sure what happened or what changed things, but I just, eventually something clicked and off we went.
You've had over 1,000 wins, as I said, off the top 67 Group 1s. Does any stand out? Like, does a race stand out? Does a winner stand out? Does a horse stand out as like that was the best?
Yeah, I think Mighty Quinn Sydney into Dominion was definitely the best. It was one. It was sort of like everyone in WA had accepted accepted him as the WA's champion, but he hadn't sort of got the recognition on the East Coast, which is often hard to do. I think in a lot of sports and particularly racing. So yeah, to get over there and win the main race on the harness racing calendar over in Sydney was was very very humbling, and got a lot of people come up to me after the race, a lot of Eastern States people, and sort of had to sort of go back on certain things they'd said about him in the press and things like that. So yeah, it was that was a big thrill, and probably the one that sticks out the most.
I get this a little bit from the footy side of things. You're a footy fan, by the way?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Who do you go for?
I'm an Eagles fan.
Rough couple of years.
Yeah, I would have tried to dodge that if I was.
Man. Your team's your team. But a lot of people ask me, what's it like, out there with, playing in front of a lot of people, or what's the like? So I look at your sport and think, harness racing. I'm like, I wonder, given you're not on the horses, given you sort of, you're driving them, is there more chat or less chat? Is there no chat? Like, what's happening out there for you guys and girls?
Yeah, there's probably more chat than what people would expect. Or know of. There's, if it's a big night and there's a big crowd, you might get people yelling out over the fence at you, good or bad. I've had both.
Bit of feedback.
Yeah, a bit of feedback. Yeah, bit of there's never a shortage of someone out telling you how to do your job. That's for sure. And I went to we took probably the first good horse that I sort of really got behind, the Falcon Striker, was really a massive stepping stone in my career. We went to Sydney with him. We went to Newcastle trying to get a start into the Miracle Mile, probably their signature race. And yeah, he'd had leg injuries in the past, and the crowd was huge that night for a country track. And I remember just going out. They went out early to parade and get announced by the commentator. And I remember going past the bulk of the crowd and someone just yelling out over the fence, like, go home, hope you blow a tendon or something, and I'm just like, I was only a kid at that stage, and I'm just like, that just ate away at me for the rest of the warm-up, basically. And I thought, geez, I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
Did you win?
Yeah, he went on and won the race, but and I thought to myself afterwards, I thought, do I mention, because they interviewed the driver afterwards? I thought, no, I'm not going to even mention it in the speech afterwards, because I guess don't want to give him the airtime, which I've just done now. But it is some 20 odd years later.
Well, you know what? Eat it because you won, and there was no injury, which is what you want. But it's funny how, like, speaking of people in racing, there's actually a lot of parallels between footy and, because like you had the same interaction with fans. I'll be in the goal square, mate, just copping it. So, you're bald, you're fat, you're slow, hope you get injured. The same stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting you said about Mighty Quinn and the travel. Like, the travel factor is relevant for both drivers and horses as well, isn't it? It's like rocking up and it's the same.
No, and I think for the horse, you'll never know what it sort of the effect it does have on them. But I've travelled with the horses in the plane, and it's a long trip. Like the flight itself is nearly the easy part. It's Melbourne to Sydney, 3.5, 4 hours at the most. But the getting to the airport, preparing, getting on the pallet, and getting into the plane, and all that sort of stuff takes probably twice as long as actually the flight there. So,
and you ride with the horse?
I have done, a couple of times, and it's a good experience to have, but it's not something you'd want to do all the time. And it's the horses don't really know what's going on, especially when sort of takeoff and landing, they get quite fractious, but
like humans.
Yeah. Well,
I've sat next to teammates that can't bloody do it.
No, I'm a shocking flyer myself.
I can't imagine being underneath helps.
No, it didn't. And I mean, it does help on the cargo planes. You can sort of interact with the pilots and that, which is, we opened the door halfway across to Melbourne one day, and they had the newspaper across the windscreen and just sitting back with their feet up, and it sort of eased the nerves a little bit for me. But I've always said to people, not that I had any football talent at all, but I said, how would I have gone if I was a footy player, like every second week jumping on a plane? Like I would have just had to get used to it.
Yeah. Some boys had to and some boys don't, and then they don't play well over interstate, and then they're out of the team, basically.
Yeah.
It lasted too long at West Coast, I don't think.
No.
You might get a game.
Might get a game.
Nice. I'll beat you there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a race on Friday. It's the Nullarbor. It's $1.25 million. Gloucester Park. I've said it wrong, haven't I? Gloucester Park's right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So talk to me about it. This is a big race. This is the biggest race in WA?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's the third running of it now, along with the Sandgroper and the Quokka. And it's gone to Eastern States first 2 times around. So hopefully this year someone in some local can pick it off.
Who you won?
Mr. Smarty, if he needs a draw. It's on later the Sabo, but yeah, he definitely needs a decent draw to be able to stake his claim for a win. He'd be a threat from any draw, but I think to be a solid winning chance, he has to draw good. So hopefully that gets taken care of this afternoon, and he can get it done. But there's I think there's probably 4 real top chances in it. Swayze, Catch a Wave, Minstrel and Smarty. So they're probably off the top of my head the four main hopes, and I guess whichever one gets the advantage in the draw out of those will probably head around favourite. Swayze's probably the second best horse in Australia at the moment, so he's I think he's $1.85 at the moment with TABtouch and deservedly so. He looks pretty hard to beat.
How does the prep go for a big race? Is it any different to a Tuesday meet, or surely it means more? And I know you want to. I cop the company lines from the footy players, but it must mean more.
Yeah, definitely.
Nerves?
You sort of
preparation better.
Yeah, I get nervous. And I prefer to get nervous. I think if I don't get nervous, it means like deep down, I think that I'm not much of a chance. So if I get nervous, I sort of start to feed off that and think, all right, how are we going to go about it? And try not to sort of think about the race all that much until we get to the race day. And then the sort of nerves creep in more and more until you get to the track. And it's obviously nice to have a few early drives and sort of just get a bit of a feel and see how you're going. But sometimes you start off on a big night and you'll get there in the first 3 or 4 races, you just go you're going absolutely terrible and you think, oh no, or is this going to just, is it going to even itself out and I'm going to come out the big one and just take it out, or, things like that. But yeah, sometimes I get a little bit superstitious about things as well, and the way things play out. But yeah, I try. There'll be so much talk about this race in the week leading up to it, and today after the draw, and people start going through all these scenarios, and I just try to sort of stay out of that because just ends up frying you before the race even starts.
I always find it interesting, the relationship between owners, between trainers, and between drivers or jockeys, depending on what you're doing. How's that work with your old man being the trainer,
yeah,
the driver? Is it we're son and father for now, or I'm just a driver?
Yeah, no, I've copped a few good sprays. Yeah, not so much lately. Lately now, well, sort of nowadays, he knows that if I've stuffed one up, he knows that I know, and vice versa. So, but yeah, back in the day, it was it was definitely you sort of come in and copped an ear bashing. But I always, my mum used to get a bit upset about it. She used to sort of, have a go at Dad back when they were together and say things like, wait till they get home and things like that. But I think I needed it. I don't think I was sort of thinking fast enough, to be out there and things like that. And I think it's only helped me today to be sort of the driver I am. So yeah, you got to, people are betting on it. There's owners paying good money for these horses and that they can't have you going out there and being half asleep at times. So yeah, I have copped a few good cooks off him, but and the owners are pretty good nowadays. We got a pretty select group of owners in most of our new horses that come into the stable, and they're all, really good guys and girls, and they're pretty understanding most of the time.
I don't think you've been in sport if you haven't copped a good cook from the coach, whether it's your dad or not. So
no,
listen to you, I'm like, yeah, Woosh has given me a couple of good ones. Give me a couple of good ones.
Yeah,
and it's interesting that you think that gets the best out of you though. Some it wouldn't. Would it?
No, I think there's. I mean, you got to. Yeah, there's definitely people I see nowadays that probably you got to go the other way and sort of try and explain it to him without maybe raising your voice or things like that, which is hard for senior. He struggles with that, and something I haven't really come across yet. My partner Madison drives, and I try and help her out from time to time, but often it just ends up in a bit of a feud. So yeah,
You got it too complicated, mate. It's
Yeah.
good. I'll just read it out. So that when you were 16, you won your first race on your 16th birthday at Pinjarra.
yeah.
First ever race. It was the first day you were legally allowed to drive.
Yeah, I had, obviously you do some trials leading up to that and get your license, and I sort of ticked all them off, and for some reason it was a Sunday meeting, which we don't usually have at Pinjarra. Don't know what the circumstances were around that race meeting being on, but just turned out that it was on my actual birthday, and I got to drive in my first race. And yeah, like I said, I did nothing right on the horse, but it still somehow won. So yeah, someone was definitely watching over me that day.
So good luck for the draw today, mate. How does it work? How does it actually work in the room when they're drawing barriers for the Nullarbor? Are you pulling them out?
No, I'm not exactly sure today. I am going. I don't know if I don't know what owners are going to be there for Smarty, but I wouldn't mind pulling it out. At least then I've only got myself to blame.
What do you want?
I want one. Barrier one.
So this is probably going to come out, I would say, just after. So if we're as in just after the draw.
Yeah.
So what do you think you're going to get? You're going to wish this into existence?
Try and manifest it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just go one then. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, there's one or 10. 10 would be by following the one out, as long as the ones are going to be a leader. Yeah, so either one of those would be good.
All right, nice. We'll match this up on socials, and you've just manifested it into reality. Gary, good luck, mate.
Thanks, Will.
Pleasure having a chat to you, and hopefully you go better than your Mighty Eagles.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
got the touch. You got the power.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.